Okay, so as we all know, tomorrow we are going to celebrate the appearance day of the most wonderful Lord Balaram, the older brother of Krishna. So older brother means like we all, those who have our older siblings at home, we would know how it is the relationship with the older brother. So the older siblings, they pamper us, they love us, and whenever they want, they do what they want to do, and we have to follow them also. So we will see how this relationship between Krishna and Balaram is. And before that, I would like to chant my Mangalacharan prayers, and then we will begin with the session. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So I feel so happy and thrilled to be talking about on this very, very interesting subject matter about Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram is always there with Krishna, like always. There is not even one moment when Balaram is not there with Krishna. He keeps changing his forms and he is always constantly present. And as we have named today's topic as the older brother, so actually Krishna enjoys to be referred as Dauji ke bhaiya. So actually Balram's one name is Dauji. Dauji is elder brother. So in Braj Bhasha, in local Braj Bhasha, this is how they would be addressing Balaram. So Krishna would call him Dauji. And because of that, Krishna's name became Dauji ke bhaiya. Bhaiya means, again, brother. So younger brother. So that is how. And there is a very sweet song. So I want all of us to sing this song together before we get into the session. So what you have to do is, I mean, yes, of course, we cannot unmute our microphones, otherwise there would be a chaos. But I want all of you to repeat this, Dauji ke bhaiya. Okay, so we would be singing. So I'll be saying something and you in the chorus, you all have to see, Dauji ke bhaiya. So let us begin. Sorry. Those of you who are on the Zoom, they can turn on their video so that we see that you are singing. Krishna Kanhaiya, Dauji ke bhaiya. Krishna Kanhaiya, Dauji ke bhaiya. Krishna Kanhaiya, माखन चुरैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, बंसी बजैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, बंसी बजैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, गिरिवर उठैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, गिरिवर उठैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, गिरिवर उठैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, रास रचैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, रास रचैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, माखन चुरैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, बंसी बजैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, गिरिवर उठैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, रास रचैया, कृष्ण कन्हैया, दाऊ जी के भैया. So seeking blessings of Dauji and seeking blessings of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, let us enter into today's topic and try to find out who is Lord Balram. So the question may arise, who is this personality? Who is Lord Balaram? So now when we talk about the Tatwa or the truth, so Krishna himself is the supreme personality of Godhead, and Balaram or Baladev ji is his first expansion. So the first expansion which comes out from Krishna is Balaram. So this is about Tatva. Then what is the Rasa? So Rasa or the transcendental mellow, what they share is Balaram is Krishna's older brother. Now wherever there is Krishna, Balaram is always there to serve Krishna. So when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, again Balaram ji reaches there when we chant Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is how everywhere Balaram is present. So there Rama refers to Balarama actually. When Krishna comes as Mahavishnu, when Krishna comes as Vishnu and he wants to take rest, what happens? Balaram immediately becomes Ananta snake bed and he is there so that Vishnu can take rest. So from Balaram, all Vishnu expansion comes. We will see in today's session that how actually Balaram is the source of Karunadakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So all the source, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the source is Balaram. Then Lord Balaram is actually non-different from Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna and Balaram. Then why two separate forms? For the pastimes, for the pleasure, to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord, there is another form which is Lord Balaram. Then the third identity of Lord Balaram is he is actually the Guru Tatwa. So Guru Tatwa means the original spiritual master. So now the spiritual master or the Guru, what is the purpose? What is the function of Guru? So the function of Guru is to engage everyone in service of Krishna. And to engage others in service of Krishna, first, that person has to himself be an exemplary servant of Krishna. So that is how Balaram ji, he serves Krishna and he engages one and all in service of Krishna. So whoever is our spiritual master, it is said that actually the source of all spiritual master is Balaram ji. And from their reflection, we get our Guru. So the real Guru actually, the real Guru does not teach you how to become God. The real Guru is one who teaches us how to serve God. And that is what Balaram does. Balaram teaches us how to serve. So he serves Krishna and he inspires one and all, everyone to serve Krishna. So that is Balaram. Now talking about Balaram's appearance day. Tomorrow we would be celebrating Balaram Purnima or Balaram Jayanti. And we call it an appearance day. So for Krishna, for Balaram, for Lord Chaitanya, for Nityananda, and for various other incarnations of the Supreme Lord, we do not use the word birthday. Birthday is for people, mortals like us. But for them, it is appearance day. So why is it appearance day? Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. Srila Prabhupada says that every day the sun rises and in the evening the sun sets. So the sun rises and the sun sets. Sun does not take birth. It is always there. So similarly, the Supreme Lord is always present, but sometime he appears. And when Krishna appears, when Balaram appears, so they are very clear about their itinerary. They know where they would appear. So unlike us, like we were not asked that which family do you want to take birth and what activities do you want to perform after taking birth and whom do you want as your family members when you are taking birth. But for Krishna, but for Balaram, everything is decided. If we read Srimad Bhagavatam, now the description is there about Kalki Bhagwan also, who would be appearing 4,27,000 years later. But his description is there that which village he would appear and who would be his parents and what would be his activities. So similarly, whenever God appears, everything is decided, everything is fixed. So he has a fixed itinerary and he has a fixed to-do list also. So he appears for specific purpose. So now talking about Lord Balaram and his appearance. So many thousands of years ago, there were actually on Bhumi Devi. Bhumi Devi was very troubled because there were so many demons and they were causing so much of problems for the Bhumi Devi. So the Bhumi Devi means earth. So Bhumi Devi or earth, she took the form of a cow and she approached Brahmaji. And she requested Brahma that you must protect me. Otherwise, I don't know how will I survive because there are so many sinful people living. So Brahmaji, along with other demigods and Bhumi Devi in the form of a cow, they all went to Shvetadvip and they started worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And at that time, Vishnu actually promises them. Vishnu said that I will very soon appear and I will destroy all the demons who are there on the earthly planet. And then he also said that all the demigods, you all take birth in Vrishni dynasty and Yadu dynasty. And I would be appearing there and I will protect all of you and we will have the pastime. So everybody was very excited and this is how so all the demigods started appearing in the Vrishni and Yadu dynasties. And finally, like we would know that portion, so I'm not getting there in detail, as how Kamsa, when he was going with Devaki and Vasudev, the sister and brother-in-law, the moment they married and they were going, and there was a prophecy that the 8th child of Devaki would actually kill Kamsa. So now, 8th son would kill, but what about the other 7? So it is described in scriptures that actually the 6 children of Devaki were killed, brutally killed by Kamsa. So actually these 6 children, their name, they are called collectively as Shat Garbhasur, Garbh Asur. So they were actually the demons. Garbh mein Asur. Asur means demon. So these 6 demons appeared one after the other in the womb of Devaki. Now it is described that actually Kans, in his previous life, his name was Kalinemi, and it was decided that he will have, Kalinemi had 6 sons and those 6 sons were cursed to be killed by the father himself. So in this birth, Kamsa came as Kalinemi and he was actually killing one after the other these Shat Garbhasur. So because they were anyways cursed to be killed by their own father, so this time Kamsa was actually killing them. Kamsa became the instrument to kill them. Now, we may wonder that why like Devaki had to go through so many atrocities, why these 6 sons had to come in her womb and to die. So now again the Acharyas explain that these 6 children, they actually represent 6 anarthas which are there in us. Anartha means unwanted thing. So till the time a person, a Jivatma has anartha, has unwanted things in the person, till that time Supreme Lord will not appear in the heart. So Krishna could not come till the time these anarthas were there. So what are these 6 anarthas? The first is Kam or lust, Krodh or anger, Lobh or greed, Moh, illusion, Mad, madness, and Matsarya, envy. So these 6 anarthas, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy, these 6 were actually the symbolic of those 6 children which Devaki gave birth to. It is also compared, Devaki is compared to a devotee, and Kamsa is said to be bad association. So like how Devaki was very scared of Kamsa and she would always avoid Kamsa. So similarly, the devotee must always fear from bad association and stay away from the Kamsa type bad association. So now 6 children were born and then 6 children were killed, and the 7th child, Sankarshan or Baladev or Balaram. So he appeared in the womb of Devaki. Now why did he appear? He appeared to purify and to clean the womb, because there were anarthas sitting in her womb. So now Sankarshan appears. So his service started. Before Krishna's service, his service started. So he appeared in the womb to clean it. He made these arrangements. Everything was ready for Krishna's appearance. And then there is this thing which happens where actually this womb was transferred from Devaki to Rohini. So actually Vasudev had 2 wives. Actually, Vasudev had many wives, but 2 are more prominent who are discussed here. So, Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our very prominent acharya, he tells that Krishna orders Yog Maya that transfer the child to the womb of Rohini. So now, womb of Rohini attracted this child. So that is why this child's name became Sankarshan. So from one womb to another. So Devaki had a miscarriage, and the baby was transferred to Rohini's womb. And Kamsa was the illusion. So Kamsa forgot the counting, that whether this one was the 7th or 8th, whether do I count it or I don't count it. So to create some illusion for Kamsa, all this had happened. Now, Balaram was born to Rohini. Now, as I was telling you, Vasudev had many wives. So 2 wives, Rohini and Devaki. Now, Vasudev and Nanda Baba, they were also related. Actually, Vasudev and Nanda Baba, they had same father, but then the father had 2 wives, one Vaishya and one Kshatriya. So from Kshatriya wife came Vasudev, and from Vaishya wife came Nanda Baba. So this is how they were also related, they were also connected. And Vasudev was hosting Rohini in his village because they were scared of Kansa. So that is how Rohini was hiding there. So now when Rohini gave birth to this most beautiful boy, there is such amazing description. His eyes, Lord Balram's eyes, are compared to 2 white lotuses. His nose was as sharp as sesame flour. And the white complexion, he was white complexion, and his cheeks, his skin is said to be very, very fluffy like cotton. His lips were like red cut fruit, like dark red in color. That's how his lips were. His nails were like malati flower. It was so white like malati flower. And then the teeth is compared to a string of pearls. So sometimes when Rohini would look upon her son, she would feel that, oh, he's a flower basket, because different flowers she could compare. Then sometimes she would feel that, no, my son is like ruby and emerald and jewels. So she would think that he's like a jewel basket. So this is how Rohini was very, very proud of her son. Her son had exquisitely beautiful features. It is described that when Balaram would blink his eyes, so it would be like the lotus opening and closing, the white lotus opening and closing. He had such thick, curly eyelashes, and he would always be decorated with these armlet, bracelet, anklet, and he would always wear a blue dhoti. His complexion, as I said, was white. Balaram is white in complexion. But then it is also described that at times when Balaram goes to Nandagram, he changes his complexion. He changes his complexion, and from white he becomes like Sham Sundar. He becomes like Krishna. So the acharyas explain why this happens. So the reason is that sometimes when Balaram would be in such deep thought of Krishna, he would acquire Krishna's complexion and he would become Sham Sundar. Another time, when Balaram would be very concerned, because Balaram was the elder brother, so he would be very concerned that so many demons are coming and I must chase these demons away. So what he would do is, to create an illusion among the demons, he would again become blue complexion like Krishna, so that when the demon come and they think that he is Krishna and they attack him rather than they attack Krishna. So this is how he was protecting them. Sometime, because 2 boys, similar age group. So they had this competition, like any mothers who are watching there. So if you have twins basically, so generally there would be a comparison and they would like always to have like similar clothes and similar toys and similar everything. So similarly, sometimes Balaram in comparison with Krishna, that he is blue. Why am I white? I also want to be blue. So he would change his complexion. So there are 3-4 reasons, 3 situations which are mentioned when Balaram would actually change his complexion. Otherwise, Balaram was as white as cotton candy. So that is description of Balaram's beauty. Now Balaram is the older brother. Now how did he become the older brother and what's the story behind it? So in Treta Yuga, actually, Lord Krishna appeared as Ramchandra and Balaram was his younger brother Lakshman. So as Lakshman, he wanted to serve Ramchandra. Of course, that is what Lakshman always wants to do, or Balaram also always wanted to do. But then he had to tolerate a lot of suffering. So Lakshman was actually a constant companion and servant of Rama right from the day Ramchandra was born. He was like inseparable and he would be always there. In fact, it is described that when Rama marries Sita, Lakshman starts feeling, he would again always be there with Sita and Rama. And Sita would feel that I want some private time with my husband. And also I want to serve my husband. But this boy, he's always serving my husband and I'm not able to serve my husband. So this is how she started thinking. So she approached Rama and she made this complaint that Lakshman is always serving you and Lakshman is always around. So I'm not happy about this. Now Rama, he is very intelligent. He's a supreme lord. So who can be more intelligent than him? So he started thinking, if I will interfere, then it will be difficult because either I will upset Lakshman or I will upset Sita. So what he did is, he took them both to the Rajguru Vashisht and said, you ask Vashisht what can be the solution. So they expressed that Lakshman said that right from my birth, the only thing what I know, the only thing what I do is serving Ramchandra. How can I be away from him and how can I not serve him? On the other hand, Sita presented her case. So Vashisht finally gave a solution. Vashisht said that when Ramchandra is in personal quarters, in his private time with Sita, so at that time Sita should serve Rama, and when Rama is outside, then at that time Lakshman should serve Rama. So this was settled there, but Lakshman was not happy. Lakshman was not happy because his service was gone. It was divided between the two. So that is how Lakshman would always want to serve Rama. When Rama goes for exile, so given current time, if elder brother would go for exile, or other one would say, okay, see you after 14 years, come back and we will catch up. Here what happened is Lakshman also started coming with Rama and Sita also came. And then we all know the tragic story there, that how Sita was finally kidnapped. So all these years when they were there in the forest, actually Lakshman was serving as a menial servant. So wherever there is a description, it is described that how Ram and Sita would be busy in some sports or observing beautiful scenery or swimming in the water or plucking the flowers. So they were having very gala time. And what was Lakshman doing? Lakshman was constantly busy in serving them. And after all these years of service, finally we all know that how Sita was kidnapped, and then finally they won over Ravana and Sita was about to come back. And at that time, Rama gave an instruction. Rama said, Lakshman, you go and tell Sita that she should not come in a palanquin. She has to walk and come. So Lakshman was a little hurt, why Mother Sita has to walk. But anyway, he followed that. And when Sita came, Rama rejected Sita. And he said, and then on that Sita said that, okay, I'll go for an Agni Pariksha. And she asked Lakshman to prepare the fire because she wanted to enter in that. And Lakshman turned towards Rama and he said, what is she saying? Do you want me to do that? You don't want, right? And Rama said, do whatever she's saying. So Lakshman had to prepare that fire that for Sita to give Agni Pariksha. And then when everything was set, the woods were gathered, and then Sita ordered Lakshman that ignite the fire. It was so painful for Lakshman to go through all these things. But Lakshman had to do because he was the younger brother and he was following all the instructions. So Lakshman did that and Sita had to go through that Agni Pariksha and Lakshman was so pained. So anyways, she successfully completes the pariksha and then she comes back and then they were staying there. And then there is another story that how Rama again asked Lakshman to go and drop Sita in the forest, just banish her, don't bring her back. So while going, you tell that you are taking her on a vacation to Valmiki Muni's ashram and you just leave her there and come. So when this happened, that time also Lakshman did not want to do that. So what was happening in Lakshman's life is that test after test of his tolerance. So this time Lakshman was very disturbed. So Lakshman, he says there that never again am I going to be the younger brother. This is too much. I wanted to make Lord Rama happy, but I am forced to do all these things that are causing him pain. And then he said, I wanted to make Mother Sita happy, but again I am doing things which are causing her pain. So all this pain is causing me pain. And there he decides, from now on, I am going to appear as the older brother. And then I can serve and please the Lord to my heart's content, and I'll also be happy. So this is how Lakshman actually became Dauji. He becomes the older brother. So this is how he comes as older brother. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a beautiful description about this particular thing where it is said, Nityananda Swarup Purve Haya Lakshmana Laghu Bhrita Haya Kore Ramera Sevana Ramera Charitra Saba Dukhera Karana Swatantra Lilaya Dukha Sahena Lakshmana. So it is mentioned, Lord Nityananda Swarup Balaram formerly appeared as Lakshman and served Lord Ramchandra as his younger brother. The activities of Lord Rama were full of suffering, but Lakshman of his own accord tolerated that suffering. So Lakshman was tolerating everything. Nishedha karite nare yate chota bhai maun dhari rahe Lakshman mane dukha pai Krishna avatara jyeshtha haila sevar karana Krishna ka korila nana sukha aswadana. So as a younger brother, he could not stop Lord Rama from his resolution, and so he remained silent. Although unhappy in his mind, when Lord Krishna appeared, he, Balaram, became his elder brother to serve him to his heart's content and make him enjoy all sorts of happiness. So see, this is the purpose. This is the mood and mission of Lord Balaram, just to please Krishna to his heart's content. And then it further says, Rama Lakshman Krishna Rame Ramsha Vishesha Avatara Kale Donhe Dohate Pravesha Seyam Shalana Jeshta Kanishta Bhiman Amsa Amsi Rupe Shastra Karaye Vyakhyan. Sri Ram and Sri Lakshman, who are plenary portions of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram respectively, entered into them at the time of Krishna's and Balaram's appearance. Krishna and Balaram present themselves as younger brother and elder brother, but in the scriptures they are addressed as the original supreme personality of Godhead and his expansion. So this is actually the detail given from Chaitanya Charitamrita, that how Lakshman decided that from henceforth he would be the elder brother. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu also come, Nityananda is elder to Chaitanya. When Krishna and Balaram comes, Balaram is elder to Krishna. So that is how he could take his own decisions. Like for example, when there was a very difficult situation when this Mahabharat battle was being fought. Now Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. So of course, Balaram could not go to the side of Kauravas because he can never think of going against Krishna. But simultaneously, Balaram had some affection for Duryodhan because Duryodhan was one of his brightest students. So because of that, Balaram was in a dilemma that what to do. I cannot fight against Krishna and I cannot fight against Duryodhan also because he had that affection. So then he decided, and throughout the Mahabharat war, he decided to restrain from the battle. And he did not come there. He goes on the parikrama, he goes to all the holy places and he restrained from fighting. So this is how he actually utilized his position also of an elder brother. So moving further, here this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Garga Uvacha Ayam Hirohini Putro Ramyan Suhrido Gunaha Akyasyate Ramiti Baladhikyad Balam Viduhu Yadunam Aprithak Bhavat Sankarshanam Oshantyapi. So this conversation happens at the name giving ceremony when Garg Muni had come to give the name for Nanda's son. So there he says that this child, he was looking towards Balaram and he said, this child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he will be known as Rama. So Rama means one who gives pleasure. So this is how he gets this name Ram. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. So Bala means strong, one who is very Balwan or strong. So he got the name Rama because he would give pleasure to all. He got the name Bala because he was strong and powerful. So combination of two became Balaram. And then he also said, moreover, because he unites two families, Vasudev's family and the family of Nanda Maharaj, he will also be known as Sankarshan. So this is how Balaram, soon after his appearance, he got these names. And then talking about what is the difference between Krishna and Balaram. So actually, there is no difference. Both are the Supreme Lord. Both are the possessor of 6 opulences. Both actually steal together. They would go on their stealing mission together. Both perform the Ras Lila also. So actually, there is no difference that way. But then there are 2 prominent differences. One is complexion wise. So as we can see in this picture here, one is Shama Sundar and the other is white complexion. So bluish and whitish. So one difference is in the complexion. And second difference, which is very, very important. Krishna appears as object of our service. So Krishna appears to take service from us. Balaram appears to serve. So one comes to take service and other comes to give service. One comes to receive and other comes to serve. So that is the difference between Krishna and Balaram. We worship Krishna through Balaram. So that is Krishna and Balaram. So how Balaram serves Krishna? Actually, it is described that there are 5 rasas, which we have discussed at other occasions also, that there are 5 rasa. Rasa means transcendental relationship. So there are 5 types of relationship which a person can have with Supreme Lord. So Balaram is that one uniquely very, very special person, only one of his kind, who actually exhibits all these 5 types of rasa, who has relationship with Krishna in all these 5 types. And that is why I said that what Balaram has, he is always there with Krishna. Wherever there is Krishna, he is always there. So let's see how it is that he is present in all different rasas. So the lowest rasa is the Shant rasa, or we also know it as neutrality. So Balaram is present in Shant ras because Balaram expands himself through his own energy as Krishna's crown, as Krishna's flute, as Krishna's slippers, as Krishna's clothes, as Krishna's ornaments. So anything and everything which Krishna uses is actually an expansion of Balaram. So Balaram wants that Krishna should look wonderful. Why? Because when Krishna would look wonderful, that will help Balaram in attracting everyone else towards Krishna. Krishna is gorgeous. When we go to the temple and you stand in front of the temple deities, like I don't know if you had the darshan today at ISKCON Chennai. Today is the Onam celebration and they are looking gorgeous. Deities are looking gorgeous. So every occasion we decorate the deities with wonderful ornaments and clothes and flowers, etc. All these things are actually expansion of Balaram. All this helps him in attracting others to Krishna so that he can connect them to Krishna, and this is how he serves Krishna. So when Balaram appears as the most beautiful crown, the most beautiful flute, the most beautiful jewel, the most beautiful lightning golden colored dhoti, which Krishna wears, so he is assisting Krishna in decorating his body. So this is how Balaram is actually our Guru, and he is helping us in connecting to Krishna by decorating Krishna. In fact, it is also said that the holy dham which we visit, like we go to Vrindavan, we go to Mayapur, we go to Jagannath Puri, we go to Sri Rangam, we go to Rameshwaram, so different dhams where Lord has performed his pastime, those dham are also expansions of Balaram's energy. So this is what Balaram, this is how Balaram serves Krishna in Shantaras. The second one is Balaram also serves Krishna in Dasyaras. So now here you see a very beautiful picture where Krishna and Balaram and all the sakhas, they are up there stealing. So when they go for stealing butter, so you see Balaram is below Krishna. So Balaram doesn't climb on Krishna. Balaram says, okay, Krishna, now you come and climb upon me and you take whatever you want. So this is how he is serving Krishna. Sometimes we see that when Krishna is very tired, he even massages the feet of Krishna. So this is how in Dasyaras, Balaram is serving Krishna. Then Balaram in Sakhyaras. So there are so many such evidences. Sakhyaras means as a friend. So he appears as Krishna's friend. They wrestle together. They play together. They dance together. They herd cows together. They actually argue also together and they fight. So sometimes they fight and they become angry and upset, and then they would go and complain to their mothers. So all that is happening because Balaram wants to give Krishna pleasure. Sometimes Balaram actually walks very fast. So when they would go to Govardhan, Balaram would be walking faster than Krishna. But then he knows that Krishna is following me, so he would leave his plow if he's taking a right turn. So he would leave his plow so that Krishna, when he comes, he knows and he comes that side. And this is how they are always there together wherever they are. Balaram and Krishna, sometimes they would slap each other, pinch each other, or tease each other. So teasing, it is very famous that Balaram would go and tell Krishna that, Krishna, I'll tell you one secret today. You know, you are dark complexion. Have you seen Mother Yashoda? Have you seen Nanda Baba? They are so fair complexion. So actually you are not their son. They have picked you up from somewhere else. And on this, Krishna would get so upset and he would start crying and he would go to Mother Yashoda and he'll say, Maya, Maya, see what Dauji is doing. And then Maya would also laugh and she would pacify. So this is how they would tease each other, or Balaram would tease Krishna. But again, the focus is one, to serve Krishna, because that all these leelas, all these pastime gives pleasure or happiness to Krishna. Then Balaram also serves Krishna in Vatsalya Ras. So Vatsalya means parental affection. Now here we see a picture where Krishna has eaten mud and Yashoda is asking him to open his mouth. And if you see behind, there is our little Dauji sitting here. So this Dauji is here, and why is he here? Because he is the one who found that Krishna was eating mud. And in his Vatsalya, because of his parental thing, because he knows I am Krishna's elder brother, I should tell him what is right and what is wrong, what he should do and what he should not do. So because of that, he goes and he complains to Mother Yashoda that he is doing something which is wrong. So when this happened and Mother Yashoda calls Krishna and he asks that, did you eat dirt? And our Supreme Lord, who's like Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Mama, so glorified so much in Bhagavad Gita. He is the topmost personality. And what he says when Mother asks him that, did you eat earth? No. Flat no. So our Supreme Lord himself lies at times for the pastime. So anyway, and then Mother starts pressing him more, and then he says that, okay, so Mother, you only said that there are 7 mothers whom we have and earth is one of them. So like I drink your milk, so similarly I ate some dirt from Mother Earth, so that is okay. And then Maya Yashoda explained Kanha that no, it is not okay. If you drink my milk, you feel nourished, but if you will eat dirt, you may cause some infection. So this is not okay for you. So anyway, so the point is that like elder brother, many times he would take up senior position and Balaram would tell Krishna that, Krishna, it's late. Let's go home. Krishna, it's time to wake up. Now come, we will go. Krishna, Gopal, today is your birthday. You cannot go out and play. You must stay at home. So all these things he would actually tell Krishna because he want to protect Krishna, and like he would be like a very protective parent to Lord Krishna. So this is how Balaram actually serves Krishna in Vatsalya. Then Balaram also serves Krishna in Madhurya. Now this is very unique because Balaram is elder brother. So elder brother is like a parent. So parent, if they are present when there are some love dealings going on, then it becomes very uncomfortable situation for the lovers. So Balram did not wanted to create any discomfort. So Balram would never go there where Radha and Krishna would be there, or when Krishna would be there with his gopis and some Ras Lila or any intimate pastime. Never would Balram go there. In fact, Balram had such high regards for Radharani that he would maintain good distance from her. And similarly, Radharani was also afraid of Balram because she knew that he is Krishna's elder brother. So there was a lot of distance between the two of them, the distance of respect. Then how would he serve here? So Balaram expand himself as Anang Manjari. Now Anang Manjari is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. And she is always there wherever Radha and Krishna are performing their pastime. So Balaramji is so clever. He wanted to serve Krishna even during his Madhurya Rasa, but then he did not, he knew that he could not enter directly. So that is how the ultimate reciprocation, where Madhurya Lila is happening, there he goes as Anang Manjari. So this is how actually he serves Krishna in different rasas. In all the 5 rasas, Balaram is always serving Krishna. So Balaram, this is how he serves Krishna. And then in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read it in much detail that how Balaram is actually the source of all incarnation. So as we were discussing in the beginning of the session, that Krishna's first expansion is Balaram. From Balaram comes the first quadruple expansion, that is Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna and Vasudev. And from that Chatur-Vyuha expansion comes Narayan of Vaikuntha. And from him comes the secondary quadruple or Chatur-Vyuha expansion, Pradyum, Aniruddha, Vasudev and Sankarshan. And from there actually comes the Mahavishnu, the 3 types of Vishnu, the Mahavishnu, the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the Karanodakshay Vishnu, all emanates from the second quadruple. So what is happening is, original source is Krishna. From Krishna, the first expansion is Balaram. From Balaram comes everybody else. So as we all know that Mahavishnu, from Mahavishnu, the planets emanate from his body. The universes come out from his body. And then he enters into each of the universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And then he enters in the heart of each and every living entity as Paramatma or Shirodakshay Vishnu. So all the incarnations actually come from this Shirodakshay Vishnu. So this is how it is mentioned that Balaram is the source of all incarnations. So we see how he is serving Krishna in all the various rasas and how he is actually the source of all incarnation. Going further down, Balaram is actually the Adi Guru. So as we were discussing that Balaram is setting standards of service. And Balaram is giving service to everyone. Balaramji wants everyone to be engaged in Krishna's service. And when we see Balaram, like in this picture, what you can see here now, so what is Balaram holding? Balaram always holds a plow. And this plow is actually used for plowing the land. So when the land is hard, then the plow is used hard, hit it hard, again and again, plow and plow and plow and plow. And then finally the land becomes soft, and then the seeds are put in the land. And then finally the land is, harvest. The harvest comes. So everything depends on how do you plow the land. So similarly, Balaram being the Adi Guru, and this plow is representing his effort to clean our heart. So our heart is like infertile land, and Balaramji is trying so hard to plow our heart so that nice and soft seed of devotion can be planted, and then gradually we become attracted to Krishna's flute. So this is the purpose. So Krishna carries flute and Balaram carries plow. With the plow, he actually makes our heart fertile, and then we develop attraction towards Krishna's flute. So this is how he's actually serving as Adi Guru. And then there is some description or rather there are a lot of description of their childhood pastime. So like we see here in this image, so when Krishna and Balaram had just started crawling, so what they would do is they would crawl and they would catch, sometimes they would see a calf standing. So they would catch the tail of the calf and the calf would start running in fear. And this small little boy, Balaram and Krishna, so what would happen is they would close their eyes because they were scared. Now calves are scared and they are also scared and they are scared and they would catch the tail and the calf would start running. And the calf would run and they would not have like enough strength or courage to leave the tail. And they didn't know that they have to leave the tail and they can stop. So the calf would actually drag them and they would be going round and round in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and all the gopis, they would be just laughing at this wonderful sight. And it is also mentioned that all the pebbles or the hard earth which would be there, so everything would melt because of Vatsalya. So the sand would be so soft there when they would be actually run around by the calves that they don't get their body scratched. So this is how this was one of the playtime what would happen, and everybody would actually enjoy when this would be happening. Then there is a description of name giving ceremony. So when we were discussing, the Garg Muni came to name them. So at that time actually it is described that somehow Yashoda was holding Balaram and Rohini was holding Krishna. And both of them, though they love both the mothers, but they have such natural attachment to their mothers that though Krishna was sitting on the lap of Rohini, he was looking only at Yashoda. And though Balaram was sitting on the lap of Yashoda and he was constantly gazing at Rohini. So this is how Garg Muni identified that, okay, whose son is whom. And mothers would feel so much of happiness seeing that love in their children's eye. So actually when the child does anything good, the parents, we feel so very, very happy and so nourished till deep down inside. So can you imagine if instead of an ordinary child, if Krishna and Balaram are your child and these children are looking at you lovingly, and if you are mothers and fathers watching us there, can you imagine what type of happiness would it bring? And then there is a description that how these two boys, from crawling, gradually they wanted to stand up and walk. So they would catch the fingers of Nanda Baba and they would start taking step 1, 2, 3, dup, and they would fall down. And then again, and then they would wake up, get up, and they will again catch hold the hand of Nanda Baba and 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and everybody else would be clapping and the children are walking. So this is how they learned everything. So though they are Supreme Lord, and yet in the courtyard of Nanda, they are actually learning how to crawl, how to walk. And once they learned walking, after that situation became very difficult because they would create so much, like they were so naughty. It was so very difficult for both the mothers to control them that they would not do anything but just run behind Krishna and Balaram and trying to figure out what they are doing. So sometimes they would go and they would like to touch fire. Sometimes they would go and count the teeth of monkey. Sometimes they would go and hold the horn of cows and bulls. So this is how they were so notorious, and the mothers were busy behind them. And anyway, so this is how the whole day would go. And this is how the house was completely full of ecstasy. And then there is a description of their forest pastimes. So when they grew up a little bit, and then they got the permission to go out and actually herd the cows. So till this time they were playing with calves, and then they started spending some time in the village or at the periphery of village, but they were not allowed to go in the deep jungles. But later on, finally, they get this permission, and Krishna and Balaram became a Gopa, and they would start going herding the cows. So when they would be in the forest, the cows would of course graze on their own. And what these boys would do, so they would play different types of games. Like sometimes Balaram would throw a fruit and Krishna would suppose to hit his fruit, which is up in the air, with his fruit. And this is how they would like play. Or sometimes they would wrestle with each other. Their favorite pastime was imitating the animals in the forest. So if they see a frog, Krishna and Balaram and their friends, they would start jumping like frogs, imitating frogs. And then they would all be copying frog, and then suddenly somebody will say, hey, there is a monkey. And then they would start jumping like monkeys from one branch to another, and they would play like that for some time. And then somebody would say, "Oh, look up in the sky, that bird is flying there." And then they would all start imitating the bird and they would fly like the bird. And then Krishna would spot a peacock. And Krishna would start moving his head like a peacock so nicely. And the friends will clap and say, well done, wonderful, wonderful, all glories. So this is how they would play different games. They would also have a game where they'll all sit with their lunch boxes and they would blindfold Krishna, and then they would keep giving one items in Krishna's mouth, and Krishna has to taste and tell which is what. So sometimes instead of food item, they would put some leaf or some flower also in Krishna's mouth. So this is how they would tease each other. And then towards the end of the evening, they would start calling out their cows by name. All their cows had names and they knew the name of all the cows. So they would call them all back, and the day is done and they are tired. So sometimes Krishna would massage Balaram's feet. Sometimes Balaram would lay down and Krishna would massage Krishna's feet. And other times Krishna and Balaram, both of them would lie down and the friends would actually fan them with banana leaves. So this is how they had their forest pastimes. So all these pastimes, all these activities, my dear devotees, we must keep in mind that Balaram is doing just to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So this is the mood which we must acquire. Especially tomorrow is Balaram Purnima. So this has to be our meditation, that how can I serve Balaram in serving Krishna. So here it is in front of us. One cannot attain the goal of life without the mercy of Balaram. When one receives the mercy of Balaram, Nityananda, one can attain the lotus feet of Radha Krishna very easily. So this is what Srila Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam, that to attain Krishna's lotus feet very easily, serve Lord Balaram. Without his mercy, we cannot be successful. Then this is from Sri Vraj Lila Stav. The splendor of your transcendental form eclipses many millions of glistening, rising moons. The slightest scent of your boundless strength is sufficient to destroy many armies of demons. I offer my prayers to you, O Balaram. So this can be our meditation, and I have chosen 3 very specific prayers which we can pray for tomorrow and always whenever we have darshan of Lord Balaram, whenever we think of Lord Balaram. So what we must pray for first is strength to conquer my restless mind. Balaram is the source or the origin of all Bal. Balaram can empower us, and then I can actually capture my restless mind, which otherwise keeps giving me so many problems and creating so many confusion in my life. So this is one thing which we must pray. Second is Balaram can actually free us from all the anarthas and purify our heart. So he has that plow. He can actually purify our heart with that plow, and it can be made suitable for the divine couple to come and reside. So the second thing is forgiveness for all the anarthas which I may have knowingly or unknowingly committed. And the third one is love for the divine couple. So only if Lord Balaram wants, he can bless us with Krishna Prem. So we must pray to Adi Guru Lord Balaram for these 3 benedictions, and this is how we perfect our life. So thank you all very much. We will stop the session here. Hope you had a nice learning experience about Lord Balaram. I would like to share that I thoroughly enjoyed. I was in a state of samadhi when I was preparing this session, because I loved each and every pastime and each and every minute detail which we were discussing about Lord Balaram. So Krishna Kanhaiya, Dauji ke bhaiya, let's hope that Dauji and his bhaiya both become merciful on us. So thank you all very much. We will close the session at YouTube. Kindly leave your comments. How did you find? What is your learning or any striking thing from today's session? Any take-homes from today's session? Please leave it in the comment section. And those of you who are there with us at Zoom, just give us a moment. We will be back with you. Hare Krishna.